book fans, welcome to another exciting edition of Cammy's Comic Corner. I'm your host as always, Cammy, fresh back from Comic-Con, and I have no pick of the week. But we do have the Fast Five, and let me just say first of all that I'm very upset that I couldn't review last week's comics because a lot of good ones came out. But on to this week, we're going forward, not back into the past. We will start out our Fast Five with XMen Schism #2. Now, we have 75% of all the Sentinels that the world has and owns and controls and operates they're defective. Because no one's used them in quite some time, but this is all going to young Master Kilgore's plan of action. And now all he needs now is $4 billion in cash, and he can get himself a nice little Predator X alien species, little specimen, to, you know, further his plans of wiping out all of the mutants. Meanwhile, the X-Men, even though they're hated by the entire world, are going around the entire world saving every single country from itself because the Sentinels are just, you know, out of control bonkers. There's a little, you start seeing a little bit more of a divide between Scott and Wolverine this issue. And then, this part I love. It's Frank Cho is the artist on this issue, and since a lot of the fighting involves the women X-Men going kicking ass, if you don't know Frank Cho's artwork, he draws gorgeous women. So I thought it was quite the prime pick for this issue. But now we're going down onto this museum that's celebrating mutant civil rights, and this is going to be Kilgore's plan of attack, where he's going to release this Predator X weapon, and then, you know, who knows what's going to happen next issue. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to be chaos and pandemonium, but hey, it's an X-Men book that I'm enjoying. This is a new thing for me, and, you know, it's an X-Men event I can follow. And if I can follow it, then you can probably follow it as well, because I'm not the... I'm a few fries short of a Happy Meal when it comes to the X-Men universe. Next up from Top Shelf, we have League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Century 1969. Yeah, it's Kevin O'Neill, it's Alan Moore, we're in the swinging 60s in London now. We have Mina, Lando, and Alan trying to get used to this era, because first of all, you know, they're always from the Victorian age. That's what they're best known for, them being the League. But now since they're kind of dealing with their own immortality, they know that they have to return and find Oliver Haddow and stop his plan to birth a moonchild. And so you get a lot of, like, first of all, it's a League book. So even though it's the second chapter, it's still like 90 pages. You still have to pay very close attention. You're not going to get much plot. What you're going to get is just great dialogue, great art by Kevin O'Neill, and it's just one of those series where you understand what's going on, but when you try to tell somebody something this complex, it's going to be really lost on them. So what I can say is you're going to enjoy it if you've been a fan of the previous Moore and O'Neill collaborations on the League. It's a very big change from League Century 1910. But it's a time of sexual revolution, and if anyone loves the sexual revolution and penises and nudity, it's Alan Moore. I mean, he was built for the swinging 60s, that's for sure. So, yes, apparently on the message boards I've been going to, a lot of people, a lot of English people are saying they're enjoying it because of all these little references from their childhood or from novels that, you know, they would only grow up over and be reading in Britain. So, if you're a Brit, congratulations, this is the best book for you. If you're a Yank, you know, you'll get the hang of it. But again, it's one of those books where it's harder to explain to somebody what it's really about, but you know you're having a fun time. I'm enjoying it. I love Kevin O'Neill's art, and I mean, if this cover alone doesn't mystify you, what's wrong with you? No, seriously. It's kind of an acquired taste. Next up from Icon, we have Criminal, The Last of the Innocents, #2. Now we have Riley feeling that it's his wife's time to go. Felix, his wife, has been cheating on him for a while now, and he can't just divorce her, because then the prenup will take away his dignity, his pride, and then, you know, everything he owns. And so what he plans to do instead is get an alibi and then murder his wife. Usually with these criminal stories, you forget that it's not all about the heist. It's not about the, you know, the grand caper. It can sometimes just be about getting away with murder. And especially since there's kind of a love triangle that's been happening ever since high school between this girl from his hometown, Lizzie, and Felix, where they all went to high school together, and then his old buddy Freak, and he really just wants to return to a simpler time, if anything, but Felix and her, you know, high society class lifestyle is just not really for him. And so he decides to get rid of her, and so he's setting up an alibi this issue, making sure he's been seen with these certain people, before he can go up to the city and take care of his wife. But it was just really, really gorgeous. Sean Phillips, you know, he does great art as usual, but in some of the flashback moments to high school, he draws them all like Archie characters, and so it really fits the story well. And, you know, I just love it when artists can do that. They can go from two different styles in the same issue. Good, good stuff. Next up from DC, we have Detective Comics 880. Now we have the Joker on the loose, and everyone is just fearing that he's going to hit the Gordons first. Jim is especially worried for his wife because he goes, every time he gets out, he always goes after us Gordons. What's up with him? That's not a good Jim accent whatsoever. But someone does make a strike on his wife and injects her with some Joker toxin. But it's one of the earlier stages, so it's not in its high potency effect yet. But meanwhile, Batman and Bullock are trying to figure out where the Joker might be hiding. They draw to the conclusion that he's in the catacombs, so Joker is confronted by Batman. And Joker already knows that this isn't his Batman. This smells like a bird more than a bat, if anything. And he says, you know, my Batman would know my handiwork. This whole Barbara Gordon Sr. thing is not my handiwork. And then it's unfortunate that Dick comes to the realization that Joker isn't the prime suspect here. It should be James Gordon Jr., who seems to be, you know, recovering from being a psycho, when in fact, but basically it's Jim Gordon Jr. who is the culprit who, you know, went after his mom, and now he's going after Babs. He's going after our Oracle. This does not compute. But you got gorgeous art by Jock. You've got a great story once again by Snyder. I'm enjoying this. I didn't see it coming. And so now we got to see, will Babs get away? Maybe she'll get injected with something that'll make her walk and become Batgirl on the relaunch. Maybe. I doubt it though. Next up from Marvel, we have Amazing Spider-Man number 666. Now, unfortunately, there isn't any sacrifices to Satan or anything evil in this issue, but what we do have is something that I've been clamoring for quite some time. Seeing Spider-Man in all these different places at the same time. Because, you know, he's in all, what, 15 different books? How does he have time to do all this? He's like Wolverine, only with Slott, he gives a much better explanation in this jam-packed issue of Spider-Man going everywhere. He's stopping crime on the streets. He's battling like foes like Hydro on the streets. He is meeting up with the Future Foundation. He's going to Horizon Labs and working on shit there, showing, you know, how he defeated Hydro, but in his own little secret Peter Parker way. And he's even attending Ben's famous poker games. Why is he invited back in? Because he finally has enough money that they can take away from him. And, you know, they didn't miss him because he was always talking. But also, while this is going on, the Jackal is has some plans. We get Shang-Chi making an appearance. We have Madame Web. And then, while all this is going on, in the background, in New York itself, everyone all of a sudden is developing Spider-Man's powers. Everyone has webs, webs coming out of their wrists. So something's going on here. But I just really enjoyed seeing Spider-Man everywhere, being tired, being a part of all these different associations that he's, you know, allied himself with and aligned himself with. So it was a very good issue. Stefano Castelli's art in this is just gorgeous. And this is what I want in a Spider-Man book. I want him everywhere, doing everything. Well, comic book fans, that does it this week for Cammy's Comic Corner. If you want more Cammy's Comic Corner goodness, check out www.cammyscomiccorner.com. Every Wednesday you get a Geeky Talkie, every Sunday you get the weekly comic review, and then every Friday you get my favorite covers of the week. And at the start of the month you get the book of the month, and then at the end of the month you get the top shelf selection. Comic-Con, it happened. I did not do a video show, though. I did not do any interviews. I felt a little bit mentally exhausted, if anything. I felt like it was being more of a job I wasn't getting paid for, rather than an enjoyable time. So, I put together a Geeky Talkie Comic-Con episode, so you get preview night through Sunday, all up on the web right now, and I had a lot of fun doing it. And you still get a first-hand experience of Comic-Con with some surprises on Sunday. And a lot of things done on purpose. It's an inside joke. Go find out why it's so funny. So, until then, this has been Cammy's Comic Corner. I have been your host, Cammy. I will see you all next Wednesday. And be sure to follow me on Twitter for all my wacky antics. I'm almost at 400 followers. And once I get 1,000, somebody's getting an omnibus. So, take it easy. See you next week.